What's up, everybody? We are back with our Oscar predictions for May. I know it's pretty much by the time this video is going to come out, it's going to be June. I know I'm always a few days late, for the month when I post them, so I apologize. But this month that just passed, May, was a pretty big month for, the Oscar predictions because we had our first festival, the Cannes Film Festival, and we had It Was Just an Accident from Neon winning the Palme d'Or. So Neon is 6 movies in 6 years. So that's good for them. But that's not what this video is about. It is about the Oscar predictions for, mostly May. Now that we're in June, just kind of like what we're talking about currently while I was filming this video. Actually, while I filmed, right before I filmed this video, the Tadum Festival for Netflix or whatever, the Tadum Expo Festival experience thing. It's like their Netflix's Comic-Con. It came out and it had trailers for Wake Up Dead Man and Frankenstein, so we'll be talking about that in just a moment. So for this video, we're going to be talking about Best Picture, Director, the acting categories, and the screenplay categories. And then as each month goes on, we'll kind of go into more and more categories as we go. It's still pretty early, so, I'm going to keep it kind of small for right now. But let's get into it. Let's start. Best Picture. I didn't have Sinners #1. I am now putting Sinners #1, and it could fall out, by next month. But right now, there's only one more thing that can probably compete with it because it's out of the things we've seen. There's only been, out of this list that I have, there's only been like 2 movies that, or out of the top 10 I have, there's only been like 2 movies that people have seen. So right now it's Sinners. It's just kind of that movie where it appeals to Oscar voters. It's also popular at the box office with critics. It's artsy in a kind of popular way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. This movie is fantastic. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. But I do think this could be like the big movie of the year, even though it's going to come out months before nominations. Sometimes people will be scared of an April release date and probably never put that there for an Oscar movie. But I do think that it has what it needs to go and go and go and go. All the way to Oscar nominations in January. I think this can be a 10 plus nom movie. I think it definitely can win some things. I think this movie right now, as it stands in the Oscar race, and like I said, I've only done one video before this, it is the biggest movie to win right now. And I know last year when I did my May video, I believe Nora just premiered at Cannes and won Palme d'Or, and I was throwing it #1. So a lot of times the #1 spots are ones that I've seen or people have seen, and there's things to talk about with it. It's not just oh, this person's in it or it's from this director who's nominated a lot. So this is why Sinners right now is the one to beat. And I think it's gonna be a top 5 movie even as we go month by month by month because they're re-releasing it. It's still making money. It's doing things with IMAX that people are still talking about. There's so many things that I think can continue this conversation that it's not gonna fall out of the top 10. It's getting nominated no matter what. Right now, though, I have it winning. My #2 movie is another movie that now people have seen, Sentimental Value. It's from the director of Worst Person in the World. That movie, very high acclaim. It ended up getting some Oscar nominations. It was snubbed a lot for what people wanted, but ended up still getting it. I think this is, from what I'm hearing, it's equal to that, or people might not, or people might like it even more. And while it didn't win the Palme d'Or, it won the Grand Prix, and it is the #3 movie of all time to have the highest standing ovation. That doesn't mean it's going to be winning Oscars, but it's up there with Fahrenheit 9/11 and Pan's Labyrinth. So 2 movies that did get some Oscar love. So I think it's in the right direction. It still won an award. It didn't win the award. It still won an award, and it's making conversation around it being at the festival. I think it was the one I've seen people talk about most from the festival. They're saying it was so they're saying it could have been this movie that won the Palme d'Or. So I'm having it #2 right now. For the last 10 years almost, there's been a foreign film. I'm thinking this is the one, and I said this last year. I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to be this one. I think this is the one that's going to be the foreign film of the year. And it's Neon. They have a great track record. They just won Best Picture with Nora last year. And I think this could be a high nomination count. I don't think it's going to go the way of Worst Person in the World. I think while that got, Screenplay and foreign film nomination, if I'm not mistaken. I think this, like I said, can get picture, foreign film, director, actress, supporting actor. From what I'm hearing, I think it could do very well. So those are the two movies that people have seen. I've heard a lot about. It's not just, like I said, just based off hearsay. It's been screened. People are talking about it, and I feel like I said with Nora last year, you kind of have to put it in the top because it's the most information you have. And as everything starts to screen, then we start to reassess. But right now, those are my top two. The rest of them, I'm going off speculation now. Number 3, I have Marty Supreme, Josh Safdie from the Safdie brothers. Period piece, Timothée Chalamet, A24's most expensive film. Could that hurt it? We don't know. Could that help it? I don't know. Maybe A24 is going to put a lot into this. It's a movie about like ping pong and greatness. It's a Christmas release. I just think this movie's going to have the it factor that's going to kind of, I think this is going to like be like, oh wow, this is a really good movie. I think it's going to follow the way of like A Complete Unknown, but even higher. Came out Christmas. People loved it. It did pretty well at the box office. And like Timothée Chalamet like was in contention of winning. He was in the conversation last year. And I think it's going to go that way, but I think it's going to be even more heightened than it was for A Complete Unknown. Because I think it's going to be more energetic. It's going to be more out there but fun. So I think it really depends on what people think about this movie. If it comes out and people just kind of pan it, I don't think it could still happen, but there's a bigger chance it's not going to get nominated. Number 4 is Begonia, the newest Yorgos Lanthimos movie. Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons. I mentioned this in my last video. The movies that he doesn't write do very well at the Oscars. Poor Things, The Favorite. I know it's only 2, but I think this is going to be the 3rd that follows this trait. It's based on a very popular Korean film. It's kind of timely about what it's about. I do think this could kind of have that Poor Things traction where like it premieres at a festival, people rave about it, and then once it comes out, like the word kind of spreads like wildfire. And it could be really weird. And I think at this point the Oscars aren't going to like knock him because they nominated The Favorite for Best Picture, Poor Things for Best Picture, Emma Stone won for Poor Things. So I don't think they're going to knock it because it's too weird. I just think at this point, if he's not writing it, and it's a good movie, it's probably gonna get nominated. They really like him they like him when he just directs and not writes. And that's this. Number 5, I did not have this in my top 10 last month. Jay Kelly, it's a Netflix movie from Noah Baumbach. They're saying like it's, from what I've heard people hear about the movie, they're saying it's incredible. Adam Sandler's great, George Clooney's great. They say it's very like up there with like Marriage Story. So, and Marriage Story did really well. I can see this being, there's this movie and another movie that could be like the acting movie. And we'll get to the other movie in just a little bit. But I can easily see this being like the acting movie. Follow the same path as like Marriage Story. So One Battle After Another, I moved down quite a bit. That was at number 1. I now put it number 6. Just because I don't know if it being his most like expensive film and all that. And I don't know if it's going to be too crowd pleasing. And they're gonna wish it was like his older stuff or his like previous stuff. I don't know if they're saying it's his most like kind of like general, like kind of like it's his broadest movie, not very niche. So like I just don't know if all of these things are gonna be like it's actually gonna get bigger attention and get more attention and have it help its Oscar chances, or it's going to be not considered one of his best, and people are going to be like, well, like you can tell the budget, it's a huge budget, he went too big, and it's not like what we're used to him being. So I don't know where that conversation is going to be, and I said that last month, and I'm even more confused about it now. I do think it's getting nominated because it's Paul Thomas Anderson. I feel like it has to be really bad for it not to get nominated. There's been a few that's like they don't have the best track record, but they still get nominated. So I don't think it's going to be that path, but I do think if it's like a middling reaction, it could be towards the bottom of the 10. But I in my stomach, in the pit of my stomach and my gut, I just can't say that it's not going to get nominated. I just feel like everything's kind of lining up for it to get nominated, and I hope because, it's a more it's gonna appeal to like a broader audience, that it does well at the box office, because it's his biggest budget by far, and I think it's like his movies don't make a lot of returns in box office, so I'm hoping it rides on critics um and just the praise of it. If it doesn't do well at the box office, but if it doesn't hit box office, critics, or awards traction, I think it has to hit one of those boxes in order to get nominated. As long as it hits one, it's in like 6 to 10 range. Wicked for Good. I think this movie's gonna be like The Godfather compared to The Godfather 2. They both get a shit ton of nominations, and then the second one wins a little more because it finishes the story. I know there's The Godfather Part 3, and that got nominated for Best Picture still, but I just feel like it's more of the like, the story's complete, now let's give it the awards and stuff like that. And like I don't know at the time. I think at the time of Godfather 2, I don't think they knew they were making a third one, so that might have been why they nominated it the same but gave it more wins. I just feel like it's going to get more wins. I think it's going to keep like that, like 10 nominations. I can see it. I just don't know why. I think because the story leans more into Wizard of Oz, that's where it gets a little tricky. If they kind of do some weird things, I don't know if people are going to like it, but I still think they're going to respect it enough to nominate it because of how loved the first part was. Delivery from Nowhere, I haven't heard much about it. All I know is Bruce Springsteen is like in favor of this movie. He like likes what they're doing. They have that one set photo. It's not like a whole life biopic. It's a one section biopic, and that did really well for A Complete Unknown. So maybe this can follow its footsteps. But because of A Complete Unknown, I'm wondering if they're like, we just gave it to that. Like, do we need to do it again? And kind of like what happened with Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocketman. I don't know. And Rocketman was deserving of a lot more of the stuff than Bohemian Rhapsody was, but they just like threw a bunch of awards at it, and then they're like, well, we just did that, so now we're not going to do it again. So I'm a little nervous of that, if that's going to happen with Delivery from Nowhere. Christmas release again, it could literally just follow Complete Unknown and how that performed. I think we need a trailer or something to see what we're dealing with, because a biopic could be a hit or a miss. You can do a Whitney Houston biopic, and that nothing happened with that one, or you can do Bohemian Rhapsody, or you can do Elvis. Avatar: Fire and Ash, you just can't bet against James Cameron. The first two got nominated. Even though the second one got less nominations than the first one, it still got Best Picture and stuff like that. So I think they're saying, like, even though it's not new technology, the visuals from what I saw, like CinemaCon or something, I think it was, are breathtaking. I think it's his final one that he's directing. I believe he said that 4, 5, and 6. I don't know how far they're going into that, like how many more they're making. I think he said that he is not sure if he's directing those, so it's the final one of his trilogy. Did he strike success 2 times because of how long the gap was and the nostalgia of it and the making people wait? This was just 3 years later, so the hype from the second one hasn't kind of become like nostalgia for needing another one. But it's an Avatar film, and Avatar movies make so much money and people love them, so you just can't bet against James Cameron. So that's why I have it at the bottom. And like that brings me to like the kind of like the big popular movies that there's usually 2. I'm not going to count Sinners, even though it's a very popular movie. It's kind of more of an artsier movie than it's a blockbuster that's also artsy. And like this happened in 2022 where there was Top Gun, Avatar, speaking of Avatar Way of Water, Top Gun Maverick, and then Elvis. Elvis did well, box office wise, but it was more of an artsier movie. I'm putting Sinners in that category, and then having like Wicked and Avatar as the 2, because they have not done more than 2 like straight up like blockbusters. I know in 2022 people were saying Wakanda Forever was going to get nominated, ended up not getting it. They kept it to just Top Gun Maverick and Avatar The Way of Water. And number 10, I am between 2 movies. I am either between After the Hunt or Frankenstein. Frankenstein just dropped their first like teaser or trailer, I'm not sure which one it was, during Netflix Tudum festival thing. And I think it looks great. I just don't know if it looks like if people from the Academy are going to go for it. They might. They're starting to embrace genre more, but it just looks like a different movie that I thought it was going to be, that seemed more Oscar-y, and this one seems not much as that, but it doesn't seem as Oscar as I thought, but it still looks great. So we've seen like Everything Ever All at Once, The Substance. those stuff still gets in. So I think as long as it's good and Netflix pushes it really well, it can still get it there because the production design looked great, the cinematography looked great, like the technical stuff looked great, and I think it's gonna get a bunch of technical stuff. It's just more, is the Academy gonna go for it? It's a different movie. I feel like what I had in my head, but like I said, it still looks great. So if it's an amazing movie, I can still see it happening. But is Netflix going to choose, to have two movies pushing for Best Picture? Or are they going to just more do one with Jay Kelly? So I don't know exactly, but it's Guillermo del Toro, so I really don't know. And I want to put it at 10, and by the time you see this video on my screen, it might still be there. It's literally on the line. And After the Hunt could be the other kind of like acting movie that could kind of pop in there. It's Luca Guadagnino. This might be his final, like this could be his chance to finally break in and get, I know he had Call Me By Your Name, but like finally get like Best Director nomination and Best Picture nomination together, and finally kind of like recognize one of his movies in like a big way that hasn't really happened since Call Me By Your Name. And this could really be the movie. I've heard things from other people that they're saying it's good. I just, we need to see like a trailer and we need to see it. This could be like Spotlight, where it's very dialogue and actory and stuff like that. And, that's where it's kind of like narrative is. Then we have, just to quickly go through some other ones, The Secret Agent, a new Brazil movie that premiered at Cannes. We saw how I'm Still Here, how well that did. It won Best Actor. He possibly can get in there. Never count Brazil because they got I'm Still Here in Best Picture. It got Best Actress. It won Best Foreign Film. So we'll have to see how this one does because people really seemed high on this one as well. Then we have It Was Just an Accident, movie I mentioned earlier that won the Palme d'Or. These are some alternates for like best like a foreign film in the Best Picture lineup. There could be two. There's been like that for a couple times over the last few years. Just I feel like the buzz around it is seeming more Cedar, Stick, or Fig than like Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall. That like I feel like it's gonna get Best like International Feature probably, but I don't know if it's gonna get Best Picture. But it's in the contention still. It's still like within the five that kind of like pop in there. Then we have Life of Chuck, another neon movie that people like, a really a crowd pleasing movie that has premiered at other festivals. I just am nervous that they've held it too long now, and it's kind of gonna be forgotten like Sing Sing. So we'll have to wait and see for that one. Then I have the Rivals of Amazon. Then I have the Rivals of the Amazon King. I've heard really good things about it. I feel like I'm hearing it from the same few people, and I'm not hearing it kind of like widespread ever since I think it was South by Southwest, where it was talked about a lot. So I think maybe after a few more film festivals, it could rise up because they're saying this is a very good film. I just don't know if it like peaked too early. Then we have Hamnet, a movie from Chloe Zhao, No Other Choice, possibly get in there. The Smashing Machine, the other Safdie brother, Ben Safdie, with The Rock. It's biopic. They do like biopics, like I mentioned. Maybe this year's biopic is wrestling and not musical. We have Running Man, the new Edgar Wright movie. Glenn Powell. Have F1. Following the footsteps of Top Gun Maverick. That Joseph Kosinski. Could he recreate some magic? Possibly. Then we have a Catherine Bigelow political thriller. Another Netflix movie. We'll see how many movies Netflix kind of puts in there. But another movie that could be like the acting movie, a thriller. Political, people like, it could be like an Anna McKay type style movie. Ann Lee, another biopic starring Amanda Seyfried, from the director of The Brutalist's Wife, she also co-wrote The Brutalist, so we'll have to see. The Ballad of a Small Player, Edgar Berger's new movie, seems much more quieter, so I don't know how they're going to go for it, but they've loved All Quiet and they've loved Conclave, so this could be another one that rises once more it screens and people are talking about it. Die My Love premiered at Cannes. I'm hearing more about Jennifer Lawrence, and we'll get to that in Best Actress, than the movie, but always a possibility. And Ellen McKay. They moved this to like from a September release to like a December release, so I feel like 20th Century is really confident in this movie. It has a good cast. It has good people behind the screen, in front of the screen. Could it be a surprise? Maybe. I don't know. I threw it in there just because I feel like you move something, kind of in that December spot right before nominations. You're really confident in some stuff, so we'll see how it goes. It could be a movie that people totally don't even click with, and it's forgotten in 2 seconds. Like Empire Light. People thought it was going to get a bunch of stuff, got like one nomination, and it was lucky for that. Best Director, I have Ryan Coogler for Sinners. What he was able to do with IMAX, I think, and just what story he was able to tell, and combine that kind of blockbuster with artsy and have it be blended so perfectly. And he really hasn't had a bad movie, and like this, I feel like is his time to get his recognition. I can totally see them giving it with him, giving him the recognition with this movie because like it's a great movie to give recognition for, because I feel like he could have got it for other movies, and like this is his like peak, and I feel like they're gonna want to like recognize him in a lot of ways. Then I have the director from Sentimental Value. Like I said, people are really liking the movie. It's the one that people have seen so far, and they do have foreign directors late of the last few years, so there's usually a foreign director in there. I can totally see him being that. Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme. Like I said, it really depends on that movie, but I feel like if it's good, it's like they're going to want to throw so much shit at it. If it's bad, then it falls out. It's more of a waiting game for that one. Begonia, he's been nominated for Poor Things. He's been nominated for The Favorite. They like him. He'll probably get nominated. Okay, so I'm taking a risk and I'm going Wicked for Good. John M. Chu wasn't nominated for the first one. He won the Critics' Choice, and I feel like towards the end of like the award shows, because they were so broken up because of the fires and all that stuff, he was getting a lot of traction that like it almost acted like he should have been nominated, but he wasn't. And I feel like if he kind of rights his wrongs with some of the errors from the first movie, other people had, and like myself included, had some issues with it. I feel like if he rights those wrongs in the second one and just it lands and can end it and really well, I can see them giving it to him. They've given it to big blockbuster directors before, especially ending a movie, ending a 2-part movie, stuff like that. It's like almost like when Doom Messiah comes out, I would expect them to give Denis Villeneuve one if he can land the plane really good, really well. But they've snubbed him twice so far, so I don't know. Could this be like John M. Chu? Can Denis and John M. Chu have similarities? Possibly. Well, we'll have to see if they're feeling John M. Chu. It really depends on the reception and how he lands the plane for Wicked for Good. Then I have Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. He's been nominated his last few movies. If it's a good movie, like I said, he's getting nominated. If it's more middle, he has a chance. That's why he's like right on the line, but it's a harder spot to kind of jump into. Jay Kelly, Noah Baumbach, he didn't get nominated for Marriage Story. I feel like I said, it's following that kind of path and that narrative and that package. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not nominated. It was just an accident. I feel like this movie is following a very similar narrative. I haven't seen the movie, but just based on like the stuff around the movie, it's following a very similar narrative to The Sea of the Sacred Fig, where the director was arrested in his country and he, was able to make this movie outside and, make it about his country. I can see them giving it to him, but I can also, like I said, this movie is kind of hitting that hype of like Sea of the Sacred Fig, where like people really liked it, and then it peaked, and then it didn't go higher than it needed to pop into Best Picture. It stayed in that like kind of like definitely getting international feature, and so there's a possibility that director can get in there, but there's also a chance that it's just gonna be too like overpacked to get in contention. Then I have Luca Guadagnino, After the Hunt. Could this be his time? I don't know. I feel like if it was just Challengers last year, he might have had a chance if it was released later. So maybe this is like an October, almost November release date. Maybe they're setting him up for success. And then finally, Guillermo del Toro. He's been nominated for his last few movies, live action movies he's done. Also, like, they just like him, and that's why like I'm starting to lean more towards like Frankenstein still being in the top 10. It's just depending on the reception and if people are willing to go along with Frankenstein. It seems more genre-y than I thought, if that makes sense, so we'll have to see. Best Actress, Renata Reinsva, Sentimental Value. They say she is incredible. They say she was snubbed beyond belief for Worst Person in the World. They say pretty much she just stares, and like it's a compelling performance, some scenes. Like just her stare is like captivating. So I'm putting her number 1. Number 2, another movie people have seen, Die My Love, Jennifer Lawrence. They're saying she is at her best. She gets nominated. They love her. She's won so early in her career. Was nominated a bunch of times already. I can see them giving another nomination for this. She hasn't been in a lot lately, so I can see her being recognized for this movie. Julia Roberts, After the Hunt. It's Julia Roberts. That's all I gotta say. Cynthia Erivo, Wicked for Good. She was nominated for the first one. I'd be shocked if she was nominated for the second one. And then Emma Stone, Begonia, has a great track record with Yorgos Lanthimos. She won for Poor Things. Was nominated for The Favorite. I think if she can pull off a good performance, she has a chance to be nominated. I think she's at the bottom. Like, she could fall out very easily for some of the other ones, but it's still very early to tell like where these other movies there could be so many more actresses that pop up later in the year. Then I have June Squibb, Eleanor the Great. People just really like June Squibb. They wanted her to get nominated for Thelma. They're saying she's very good in Eleanor the Great. Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut. Sorry, there was a lot of words right there. Premiered at Cannes. They've nominated her before. You know, kind of like a you're still doing great things in her 90s. I can see the narrative happening. Amanda Seyfried and Lee, I feel like she can do some cool things with this. Jessie Buckley, Hamnet. I just don't know how I feel about Hamnet yet. I really haven't heard much about it. It's just Chloe Zhao, and I think Chloe Zhao is a very good director, so there's a good chance it could be great. So that's more of a once it comes out, we can talk about it more. Emma Mackey for Ella McKay. Like I said, it's very early on, so there's not that many actresses that are automatically like, oh, they're in contention. And then Amy Adams at the sea. It's Amy Adams. She's been nominated like 9 times, so why not throw her in now? Best Actor, Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme. Like I've been saying this whole video, it all depends on Marty Supreme's performance. I think they love Timothée, and I think he's getting to the point where it's like he's like a Leonardo DiCaprio already, like getting nominated for a lot of things he's doing, and I feel like he could even win earlier than Leo did. If this movie delivers beyond belief, I can see him winning. Then we have George Clooney, Jay Kelly. I mentioned people are really praising him. He has been nominated a while. The Oscars love him, so I can see that. Noah Baumbach, Adam Driver, and Scarlett Johansson, Laura Dern, all got nominated. It was a very big acting movie, so I can see this movie getting a lot of acting nominations. Leonardo DiCaprio. Speaking of Leonardo DiCaprio, One Bad at a Time. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. They love him. I can see him getting nominated. Jeremy Allen White, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Depends on if they're feeling musical biopics this year. They might just be ready to be like, you know what, we're gonna take a year off. We'll see you next year. We'll have to see. But he is a very well-regarded actor. The Bear, all these things. I think he's finally getting his due, and I think he's slowly just moving up, and at a perfect time when this movie comes out, and I can see them, praising him like Austin Butler and Elvis. Jesse Plemons, Begonia, Poor Things got multiple acting nominations. The Favorite got multiple acting nominations, so I can see if they're a good, pairing of lead actor and lead actress, and they both have delivered great performances. I can see them both getting nominated. Matthew McConaughey, The Rivals of Amazai King. I heard he's really great. Like I said, this movie was talked about a lot, and it kind of stopped, so I don't know if it's starting to lose its steam, but I'm putting him possibly in the contention in case it's at more film festivals and he rises up on the list again. Wagner Moura, The Secret Agent, that Brazilian movie. I can see him pulling no Brazilian actors ever been nominated for an Oscar. I can see him doing what Fernando Torres did and getting just the campaign being so a well-oiled machine, him getting nominated. Dwayne Johnson, The Smashing Machine. It could be a very different role for Dwayne Johnson. I feel like it's already going to be a very different role for Dwayne Johnson. It's a biopic. They could love him, or they could, because he's The Rock, just not want to give him his flowers. So it kind of depends, but it could be a Brendan Fraser. He wasn't an Oscar type of actor, and all of a sudden this movie, he is amazing. So let's see. Daniel Day-Lewis, his son is making a movie he came out of retirement for. It's Daniel Day-Lewis. That's all I gotta say. And Paul Mescal for Hamnet. I'm not sure if he's supporting or lead, so I have him in the bottom, but I can see if this movie is going to do well at the Oscars. I can see him possibly coming along for it. Best Supporting Actress, Ariana Grande, number 1. I think she could have won if it wasn't for Zoe Saldana, so I'm keeping her number 1 for Wicked for Good. Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value. I heard she's really good in this movie, and she's slowly rising and rising and rising. I can see her finally, breaking in to get her first Oscar nomination. Regina Hall, One Battle After Another. I think if the movie is well received, I can see other members of the cast getting nominated. Eo Edebiri, After the Hunt, like I said, it's gonna be an acting movie, so I can see this happening. Gwyneth Paltrow, Marty Supreme. If she has a good performance, I can see this being like the actress that has been nominated in a very long time, and here's your recognition again. And I can definitely see that narrative being for Gwyneth Paltrow. And then some other ones that I think, supporting's a little harder to predict right now. I can see kind of 3 through 5 being swapped out with other people here. Jennifer Lopez, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, Laura Dern, Jay Kelly, like I said, big acting movie. Emily Blunt, Smashing Machine, Angelina, Looking Glass, The Rivals of Amazon King, Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another, Glenn Close, Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out Mystery. They previewed a trailer at the Tudum Festival. I really don't know what to call it. Convention, I guess? I don't know. But she had made a video saying, it was out of context for me, but it said she's a 8-time fucking Oscar nominee. And I was like, is she already campaigning? Is this the start of her campaign? And the Oscars love to nominate Glenn Close. Could this be her time? Could this be not the same situation, but with Jamie Lee Curtis where she was never nominated and then all of a sudden people just kept talking about her, where people, I think the talk is building and building and building. And the conversation is not that she was never nominated, but she's never won. And can that be, the same narrative of an older actress, getting her due on the Oscar stage? Possibly. It would be the first time a Knives Out movie got an acting, but actually we got a nomination outside of writing. But I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Glenn Close. That's why she's not in my 10 right now, but I wanted to bring it up. Best Supporting Actor, I heard Adam Sandler, Jay Kelly is incredible. Like I said, from what I hear from other people, it's like a source of a source of a source. They're saying he's incredible and he's on track to get his first Oscar nomination. I just feel like, I don't know, when Adam Sandler is this high regarded for an Oscar nomination for a movie he's in, I feel like you almost can't bet against him. But then there comes the, people have already seen a movie and they're talking about this person just as much, which, Adam Sandler, my next person, could easily switch, and that is Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. They're saying he is really good. They're saying the whole cast is amazing, so I can easily see him getting in there. Like I said, After the Hunt, just like with Jay Kelly, is an actoring movie, so I can see Andrew Garfield getting in there. Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. Like I said, if it's a high nomination count, I can see a lot of it being I can see, a lot of the actors getting, 3 or 4 acting nominations out of a 8 nomination or stuff like that. And then Jonathan Bailey for Wicked for Good. They're diving, like I said, more into the Wizard of Oz. He becomes a little more prevalent in the story. And I don't know if they're going to add more to it. He was nominated for SAG for the first one. Who knows? Maybe he's going to actually get nominated for the second one. So I'm kind of throwing that as a wild card. I feel like some of the acting, there's enough to fill 10, and then there's still some to put in. And there's okay, let me just kind of throw this in there. There's not exactly 10 yet, but here's some options also that could be in, the 5. Because it's so early. I have Mark Hamill, Life of Chuck. His name was thrown around a lot during the last year's festivals. Delroy Lindo for Sinners, a actor who has not been nominated and can finally get his due. That could be the narrative for him. He's also good. He's also very good in Sinners. I think Sinners is going to be the normal kind of popular movie that makes a lot of money, where it gets a lot of nominations, including Best Picture, technical stuff, but it doesn't get the acting. Dune 2, it didn't have for Dune 2. For Lord of the Rings, it happened only once for Ian McKellen, so I think it might be harder for the Sinner actors to get in there. And also for Delroy Lindo. People were really upset that he was snubbed for The Five Bloods, so this could make up for it. We'll see. Then I have Robert Pattinson, Die My Love. I heard he is very good in it. Not as good as Jennifer Lawrence, but very good in the movie. Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another. Like I said, there's a lot of people in that movie that they kind of play with for nominations. And then Jeremy Strong, Deliver Me From Nowhere, coming off his Oscar nomination for The Apprentice. Original screenplay, a lot of the movies I've already talked about. Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, Jay Kelly, After the Hunt. Sinners, amazing screenplay. As of right now, I can easily see it winning. I think it's going to be nominated no matter what. A great original screenplay. Like they've been really hyping up how successful it's been for an original movie, and I can see that playing a narrative, kind of playing the story for being nominated for original screenplay. Sentimental Value, they said the screenplay is very good. Marty Supreme, if it can work, I can see them, wanting to reward it because of how it paid off. Jay Kelly, Marriage Story got nominated, and I'm kind of just putting it in those places because I can see it being the exact same trajectory. Netflix is releasing it. Noah Baumbach, very actory, very writery, very screenplay and dialogue-y. I can see it finding that exact nomination count. After the Hunt, I heard it's very dialogue-y. I heard it's sort of like Spotlight, where it's very, like I said, screenplay is very important for this movie. I can easily see it getting in there. And one movie I want to talk about outside of the five, The Materialists, from Celine Song, her new movie. They're saying the screenplay is impeccable. They're saying it's like old rom-com, but like so elevated. And I feel like if she's gonna get anything for this movie, I feel like it might be forgotten and kind of get shut out because of its rom-com, unless it's really good. But I think its biggest bet is original screenplay. Sort of like with Knives Out, how like those always get screenplay. I think this is like, if it can do it, I think it could be a lock for screenplay. It just depends on how it plays out. And finally, adapted screenplay, we have Begonia, we have One Battle After Another, we have Life of Chuck, we have Hamnet, we have Wake Up, Dead Man, and Knives Out Mystery. No, I should probably have Knives Out higher. That's going to get nominated. The other two have been nominated. Hamnet, I can see being in the contention here. It's based off a popular book. It's about Shakespeare. I mean, also Steven Spielberg's producing this, so like this could also help it for its overall run. Like I don't know. I really have to hear more about this. It's just I'm going based off like Chloe Zhao and stuff like that. Life of Chuck, I heard the screenplay is incredible. It's a crowd pleaser. I heard it's just a really good story. One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson is known to get nominated for his screenplay, so I can see that being in there. Begonia, the movies that Yorgos Lanthimos doesn't write, they really like the screenplays. And I think it's going to be a directing screenplay kind of nomination movie. It's going to get picture, going to get screenplay, going to get directing. I think it's going to be more of an above-the-line type movie compared to his other two movies, because I don't think it's a period piece. So I think this one might be more of above the line than below the line. So I can definitely see that getting in there. Adapted screenplay, I mean, like, this is very loose right now. Wicked for Good can get in there. The first one got in there. Frankenstein, if they click with it, I can see that getting in there. Deliver Me From Nowhere, Ballad of the Small Player. Edward Berger has gotten his other movie. The other Edward Berger movies have gotten into screenplay. Die My Love, I heard, is like Night Bitch, like what Night Bitch was supposed to be. So if they actually can pull that off, maybe they can get in. The 8 categories I talked about, I feel like it's still early. There's still so much to talk about in the coming months. I feel like every category we went through, like as we went on, it got like looser and looser of like what could be in there. We do need to see some more festivals to hear about some more movies and kind of paint a clear picture of what's going on. But right now, this is what I'm feeling. Could I be wrong? Yes. I said that last year. Did I get some right? I did. But I'm going to wrap it up. This has been the May Oscar prediction. I know I'm in June. By the time this video comes out, I apologize. But this has been the May Oscar predictions. Can't wait to talk with you next month to see how this all changed. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Cheers.